Early on, when I was storyboarding the film, it was a series of just pencil drawings which I would then put into the computer and arrange as an animatic. So I was doing all the early animatics, no movement or anything. It was just one still picture after another. And part of that was to work out timing. But another part was to figure out how sound would affect the images and the interpretation of the images. So I was basically just going around the house, finding objects that were a rough approximation of what I needed. And so I just laid that over the animatic, and it helped me to understand the texture of the film in terms of sound, even though I had no experience with that previously. That was then very helpful when we finally did start working with John to do the sound design, because instead of me sitting there and in my awkward way sort of saying, oh, and here we need a sound of a tram and, you know, bells and all this sort of stuff, I could actually say, well, this is what I mean, you know, and just run through this rough track. And it was pretty crude, but I guess part of John's skill is being able to interpret the intention behind those sounds and then to do them 1,000 times better and add some of his own innovations to that.
Sound design on an animation is a very different process to working on a live action film. Generally with live action, we're given recordings that were taken on set. They contain a lot of information, like dialogue and some of the basic movement sounds. And it always gives you some kind of tone of the space. Every room has an inherent sound. With animation, you have moving images and absolutely no sound. And so everything that you hear in an animation is the result of a number of creative decisions.
There are moments when you really do need a bit of sound to create an emotional effect. For instance, the lost thing making a noise. Okay, it sort of adds a beat to the action, and that can then determine how you arrange the pictures, the way the mechanisms inside the Federal Department of Odds and Ends start processing all this paperwork. That kind of then makes you understand an image such as a pan down along this big desk which is full of hidden machinery.
For the Departments of Odds and Ends, it was a huge black hollow space with no life, and we really wanted to communicate the isolation we can often feel when we're totally entrenched in bureaucracy. And so we used a lot of sounds, like a lot of hollowed spaces. We used a lot of echoes. We sang into the microphone and pitched it way down and stretched it out. And by layering these types of sounds over one another and applying a reverb, we were able to, well, I hope, create that kind of emotion of isolation.